Most of us doing this healing, trauma, personal development type work, we get stuck in this feeling of finding that next thing, of fixing ourselves, of getting past our trauma or whatever has been holding us back. And it's that very thing that is often holding us back. And we tend to lose sight of the actual goal of healing. So in this video, we're going to talk about life availability over time. It's a very simple graph that I threw together. Now, I know it's a little bit hard to see on the screen, so I'm going to show this to you a little bit different. But if you want to have this for yourself and go over it, I actually made a workbook, The Rules You Never Agreed To. You can find that on my website, darrensoares.com. Under the free resource tab, or I'll leave a link in the description. So what we're really going to cover in this video are three things. We're going to briefly touch upon some of the rules, and then we're going to talk about what I call the gap, and where I think the most amount of people out there really struggle, and then the goal of healing, and this thing that we lose sight of as we're on our journey. So let's jump into that. So the first thing is kind of the rule, and we'll lay out, this is just a very simple, generic version of that same graph. Throwing this up there so you can see it, especially if you're on a small screen. So there's obviously more of you, less of you, and that's kind of your availability to your emotions and just to live life. And then down here on the other axis, we have time. So this blue line kind of represents your life. It starts off a few ups and downs, you're doing really well, and then something up here towards the top, something traumatic happens. And when that happens, you're just devastated for whatever reason. And that could be a big thing or a small thing. And what happens is that people start on this downward trajectory. And they start spiraling down. And then somewhere our brains, being these magnificent, awesome things, comes in and it makes a prediction. You see, it sees all these red little dots here, and it sees that you're about to hit rock bottom. And so instead of you hitting rock bottom, it comes in where this red dot is, and it writes some sort of rule. Maybe this is disassociation. Maybe this is people pleasing. It can really show up as all sorts of different symptoms. Because right here, what you have is basically a weight. We're going to say this 100-pound weight gets attached to you right there. And so you spend the rest of your life carrying around this 100-pound weight until you sit down and actually focus on it and try to do some healing. Now, a lot of people try to focus up here where the trauma actually occurred and, oh, I got to figure it all out. But the reality is it's down here where this adaptive pattern came into your life. That's the thing you're carrying as your keystone trauma, those rules, those adaptive patterns that you made. Those are the things you need to focus on. So let's move to number 2. What happens is that there's this alternative life. And this line basically represents the fullest version of you. If you didn't have that 100-pound weight holding you back throughout life, this is the life you could have lived. And you see, the in-between, that's the gap. And this gap is what causes people so much pain, because they see that they're living as a fraction of themselves. They see that they could have that job. They could date that partner. They could be at that place in life. And then they see where they are. And it just brings so much suffering and shame. This is where the inner critic gets going and starts beating you up. And that brings us to the third thing. The goal of healing trauma is not to heal trauma. It's to have more access to your life, to the fullest version of you, to joy, to happiness, to peace, to hate, to anger. It's all a part of life. Life does evolve pain. Pain is really a requirement of life. Suffering, on the other hand, is not. And we spend so much time trying to fix our suffering that we forget about joy and we forget about having fun because, frankly, most of us don't feel like it when we're doing this work. But that's actually slowing your progress. Because what we're really trying to do is we're trying to get you on this path, getting back to a place where you're fully yourself, where you have access to all of you. You see, if you look at most work out there, talk to therapists and really knowledgeable people, it's not about being calm. It's not about never feeling sad or grief or whatever. It's about flexibility. It's about when you're sad, but it doesn't last for a month. And when you're angry, but you get over it in 20 minutes. That's what it means to truly heal. And we spend all this time focusing on rules or some of the traumas, and we're actually slowing ourselves down. Because what we're doing is we're sending clear signals when we're living over here that we're still here dealing with all of this trauma stuff. Because we're not giving our system the signals of safety. And what is a signal of safety? Joy. Laughter. You don't laugh when you're in a dangerous situation. But if you're laughing, your body, your mind, your behaviors is all giving that signal of, oh, okay, I guess things are good now. And so I'm going to give you an experiment this week. It's going to be super hard. I want you to sit down for 1 hour. And I want you to turn on a stand-up comedy. And I don't care. It can be PG-13. It can be super raunchy. I don't care. What you need to do are two things. Your jaw should hurt and your belly should ache. That's it. Because when is the last time you've laughed so hard that you needed to calm down and stop yourself? And I can't do this anymore. It hurts. I need to take a break from all the laughter. When's the last time you've had that much joy in your life? Because yes, you do need to focus on the trauma and the healing and seeing what happens there and identifying some of the rules, those keystone traumas, but also spending time in joy and peace and love and those positive emotions. That's just as important for your healing. I wish someone had explained this to me as I was on my journey because I spent it deep on the trauma stuff. But it's when I could have more joy and more fun and just spontaneity, that's when things really started to move a lot faster because I was giving those safety signals over and over and over again to my mind and my body. So I hope this helps clarify some things, and I hope you get refocused on the goal of healing and getting to a place where you can access a little bit more of yourself. So you don't have to get all the way to your full potential, even just a little bit higher, even just a little bit of laughter. Read one joke, watch some stupid, I don't know, animal doing something silly. That's it. Just a moment in it. So until next time, my friend, keep trusting your gut, keep trusting your intuition. See ya.